Hey everybody, welcome to my suburban oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in a Zone 6A in mid-Michigan, and it is the evening time when the sun is going down. My neighbors are enjoying a little bit of outside time, but it's our time to walk around the garden to take a look at the tour and see what's going on. Here we are in the Potager Garden in the evening light, and everything is so lush, and I feel like that is the word of the year because of how much rain we've had. We have some beautiful Kent Beauty oregano here that's getting ready to bloom. It has its bracts, but it hasn't quite sent its flowers out yet. And over here, the alyssum is absolutely stunning. It's self-seeded from last year's. And our blue star junipers are looking great. I wasn't sure if they would do well with all the rain that we've been getting. Now, in the Potager Garden, we also have some of our Potomac orange snapdragons that are blooming there in the distance, and they're looking really gorgeous. They just glow. We are getting a tomato on this tomato plant now, so we got two tomato plants that are starting to have tomatoes, and this basil down here is doing great. This was our $1 Walmart clearance basil, so I'm looking forward to harvesting some of that. And the lavender is in full bloom now. And over here, the pink mink clematis just keeps getting better. I mean, it is amazing. Look at this specimen of a clematis. It sure does look great. And it's kind of turned its bells up a little bit more so you can see them, and you can see that beautiful striping on them along with some seed heads. And we're still getting buds on it, so it's got quite a lot of bloom life left in it. I just love it. Over in this garden bed, everything's doing really good. Our daisy has started to open up. I'm thinking about moving my lady planter because the daisies are so big this year. And the rest of the garden's looking great. The grass is still really green because of all of the rain. And now we're starting to see the smooth hydrangeas really light up the garden. They look beautiful in the half moon garden over here. We have some incredible hydrangeas. And we also have some Wizard of Oz Veronica. This Veronica is one of my favorite colors, and it just looks beautiful at the base of this hydrangea. It's a nice combination. Now, these have been in this area for some time, and they're a very smooth-tapped hydrangea. They are not undulating in any way, and so I have to say that my favorite ones in my garden for smooth hydrangeas are these Bar Harbor hydrangeas by Monrovia. And the reason for that is, to me, they look just like beautiful cumulus clouds, and they're so fluffy and undulating, and they just have a different texture to them than you see on the other hydrangeas. Even the Annabelle hydrangeas are very smooth. So I just love that about these. They're much more poofy. I like them that way. It's a very beautiful area right now to look at, along with our little Buddha that we have in this area. Hopefully the dianthus I planted in that area will take really well and provide some color there too. Now, we do have a branch that came down in some of the storms on the hawthorn that I need to take down the rest of the way. It's just hanging on by a thread there. But let's focus instead on this beautiful pink diamond hydrangea. This is the panicle hydrangea. That's a lace cap variety, and boy, is it beautiful. And we're getting blooms on most of the hostas now. And even this hydrangea is blooming, so I'm thrilled about that. It's the exact same one as the other two that are down this way. And I've gotten a lot of questions about how we maintain our rock borders, so we will be sharing a demonstration of that and talking it through soon. Oh my goodness, we have a baby groundhog and a baby rabbit back here. It's just crazy. It's wildlife central these days. I don't want that groundhog. I don't mind the bunnies quite so much. They don't do as much damage, but those groundhogs can devour some stuff. The gold strike lady's mantle over here, I haven't gotten it trimmed back yet, but it still looks really good even though it needs to be trimmed back. It's just that it's splayed out. So we'll definitely have to be taking it after that. I do have a garden tour group coming through very soon, so I got to get out and spend some time in the garden and tidy up. These grasses are looking amazing with the maple. And the Pinky Winky hydrangea tree here is really starting to put its buds on. And the blooms on this blue hosta are amazing. Then we have our little topiary ball down here of boxwood that we're working on, and it's growing really well, so I'm happy about that. We're going to try to make a second ball up on top of it so that it stands out a little bit higher above those grasses. It will get larger than the grasses eventually anyways, but my goal is just to have that taller ball. The strip cheese hostas in here are just glorious, and so is the pinka blue lungwort right here. Now, I always show you the good and the bad, so I'm going to show you some bad right now, and that is this pretty and pink lungwort. This is the second year that it's gotten a really significant case of powdery mildew, so I'm wondering if it is a susceptible variety to that, more so than others, because my other ones did not get it this year, and it did get it last year as well. And so I probably will keep it one more year, give it one more year and see if it does the same thing next year. And if so, I'll either move it and see if that changes things or get rid of it. Well, this oak leaf hydrangea is just pristine right now. Because of the rain, they are so pure white. It's just gorgeous. Here's the Annabelle hydrangea, so you can see that this one is also a very, very smooth topped variety. If you like that, the Annabelle and the Incrediballs are very good for that because they are related. The Incrediball was developed from the Annabelle hydrangea. And I do want to show you over here how things are looking as well. The front side of the oak leaf hydrangea, because the blooms are all over it completely and it just looks lovely. This little corner to sit in the rocking chairs. I added some drink holders and it's just a cozy place to sit. Our little hottie hydrangeas, which are panicle hydrangeas, you can see the bloom buds have really formed. And this is going to be its second full year in the garden. We've got some astilbe buds that are coming up and starting to color themselves as well. Hopefully they'll shoot up a little taller. That was the ultra pink phlox right there. And we have our hydrangea here. That's the Let's Dance Can Do. And it's opening. It's looking so pretty. Such a beautiful pink color. This is the one that is the cross between a large leaf hydrangea and a mountain hydrangea. And it is its first full year in the garden. I also want to just come back here to show you the bloomstruck hydrangea because it is getting ready to bloom. We see our first blooms here, which are purple, which I love. I thought it was going to be pink because we don't have acidic soil. Now, I do use Hollytone oftentimes on my hydrangeas as opposed to the flower tone. And so that may have helped to change the pH of the soil just a little bit, just enough for the color to change. These hostas still look amazing. It's just beautiful. in full, and I believe again that lush is the word of the year for the garden. The blooms are gorgeous alongside this weeping spruce, which I'm so glad to see the height on it now. It's got to be at least 5 feet. We have a nice tidy garden bed here after cutting back the catch fly. And the buds on this firelight hydrangea are just everywhere. This one is going to be beautiful when it blooms this year. It was gorgeous last year as well, but this is its second full year in the garden, and I'm excited for it. We're not going to head into the way back garden today, but I do want to show you how our pots are doing up here, because we had some snapdragons last year in this pot that reseeded themselves. They were a light pink variety, and as you can see, we got a very good mixture here, probably because we have so many different snapdragons in the garden. All of the pelargoniums and the sun patiens are really starting to pop alongside of the calibrachoa in these pots, so they're beginning to really fill out and make much more of a statement here. And I'm really thrilled with how they're looking. So glad that we painted them all a similar color, and I'm just really happy with how they turned out this year, and glad I put them up on the pillars. We have some pops of white over in this part of the garden bed now with the daisies. The snowdrift rose are accompanied by these sweet daisy birdie daisies. And they're very cheery, and we have all sorts of little teeny tiny pollinators on them. This part of the garden faces west, and so it gets at least 6 hours of sun every single day. So this is a full sun garden bed. And our buddleia right here, these are the Pugster Blue, and I see some little buds that are finally starting to show deep down within there. So we're getting closer to some. I might take this rose out. We get probably a week's worth of blooms on there, and then some scattered blooms thereafter. And it dies back to the ground almost every single year for the most part. We had one branch that stayed this last year. I might give it another year, but it seems like a lot of work for what it gives to the garden. We have some more ultra pink phlox right here. And over here, we did a really nice job of trimming back these barberries, the limoncello barberries, and I also came through and trimmed back the Violet Riot salvia that were in here, because they were flapping way over the rocks and looking a little bit messy, so it was a good time to get them cut back and give them a chance to reset and rebloom again. I love all the colors and the way that they work through this garden bed. Just fun to look at. And this is so fun to see what nature does sometimes. And we have the Etoile de Violet clematis that has kind of creeped its way over into the strawberry Sunday hydrangea. And then there's that rose back there in the corner as well. And just a beautiful trio vignette right there that nature created on its own. Well, like I said, I think that these pots are doing a really good job of providing us with a little bit more interest, because you can actually see from far across the pool some of the color on them, which is really nice. I know that this camera actually will show them looking like they're further away than what they seem in person, but this garden down here at the end, our Half Moon Garden, has some white wizard veronica growing right now, along with that hydrangea, and the Tien Shen Seven Sun trees are just looking gorgeous. The geraniums that I planted in here, these are the ones that I overwintered, and they're looking really pretty in this globe structure. I think that just adds a nice little touch to this area. And we're starting to get some blooms on the white wizard, as I said, these white wizard Veronica and the hibiscus that we have in this garden bed are coming up strong, but they're not as tall as they were last year. Ooh, that's a gorgeous view. Let's just stand here for a second. Now I did come through and clean up the Johnson's Blue geranium that was over here and was really taken over and ready to be trimmed back. And so I've done another video on that for those of you who have some of that and may be interested. This chair was completely engulfed in them, but now you can actually get to the chairs and enjoy your time in them. So this topiary, this arborvitae topiary that I created a couple years ago, has gotten so big. It's really, really filled in. It was kind of like the smaller ones that I had before that were not quite as dense, and I probably need to really keep on that one to make sure it doesn't split because it's getting so big. Now, I think these are my favorite pots this year. They are just so dramatic, and I love the color combination with the deep grape punch purple, the medium pink pelargoniums, and then that super dark potato vine, and then at the base with that thyme that just kind of creeps over the edge. And that's a perennial, so that will just remain in the pots over the winter. And I love the way that it looks, so maybe I'll add some more around the sides, but not too much because I don't want to cover the urns up completely. So soon we'll be getting some blooms as well on the vanilla strawberry hydrangea up here. And I've been enjoying a lot watching the birds take baths in the fountains, and even the bees come in for their drinks there. Spireas sure have changed over the years. They are so much better. These are the superstar spireas, and they look so gorgeous and pillowy and billowy right now. And even the spent blooms look pretty to me. Sorry about the hose, just ignore that. We have our incredible hydrangeas looking great over here. They are so, so lush. And this is their third year in bloom in this garden. And we have our baby that we planted, and it is actually going to bloom this year. So that's thrilling. I'm going to get rid of the liatris that are planted around it this fall. I'll give those away. And then this hydrangea looks like it's going to be a little bit blue. I did put hollytone in this one as well, so that could be why. This is the one that I overwintered in my shed this winter. I'm definitely going to be trying to overwinter it again because that has been really fun to have in that urn. And the Scots pine is doing great. It's been very happy in its pot. I got the project done with the deck, all the power washing and the staining. So no more debris sitting around there, which is really nice. It's felt a bit discombobulated. We have some beautiful, beautiful daylilies over here that smell really good. But eventually I will be moving them because back behind them I have a smooth hydrangea. This is the Incredible Blush, and it's getting ready to bloom. And that's its first year in the ground, and I planted it from a very tiny quart container. That was one that I think I actually got through mail order. Yeah, I think I got that one from Great Garden Plants. So I will, move these daylilies. I want to keep them. I'm not sure where I'll move them, but they smell so good and they're so pretty that I don't want to get rid of them completely. Our quick fire hydrangea is not so quick to fire this year. I feel like it's firing at the same time as the other hydrangeas. I'm not sure why, but It does look beautiful. Everything is very, very pristine on it. We don't have any yellowing on our hydrangeas anywhere. It's been super hot. We've had that heat wave, but at the same time, it's been raining almost every single day. So everything is getting lots of water. And so it's helping it get through the heat wave. Our Liatris hedge is just about to come into bloom. Um, as we come to the end of this beautiful hedge, you will see that we actually do have some where the tops of the blooms, where they start to bloom, are beginning to open. So these bloom from top to bottom, and you can see we've got some blooms starting. And in this garden bed over here, we're in a changeover period for it, just before some of the other summer blooms come into effect, like the echinacea. But the grasses are looking great at the back of the border, and the mums are coming in really well. And you can see we have lots and lots of buds all over the echinacea. So that purple coneflower is a pollinator and goldfinch magnet. Now this spirea is starting to put on some new growth finally, which makes me happy. I feel like it's finally starting to settle into its new spot. This is the one that we moved forward about a foot after we took the weeping crabapple out of this spot and moved it across to a new bed. So I'm glad to see that one doing well because it has some beautiful blooms on it that I don't know if we're going to miss out completely on this year or not. We have our Rocky Mountain Red Penstemon and our Pike's Peak Purple Penstemon looking glorious in the sunshine, along with some more echinacea buds. They're just everywhere. And down here by the mailbox, with all of the rain, we've actually gotten some rebloom on this iris here, which is a Japanese iris. And you can see the coneflowers in this mailbox bed that faces south and gets full sun, probably 10 to 12 hours a day. They're blooming, and the seed heads are forming on the clematis. I love the recursiveness of the flowers here, how the petals kind of curve back towards the stem. Isn't that beautiful? Now this garden bed is starting to really thrive in the front here. We can see some of the buds forming on the autumn joy sedum, and the bobo hydrangeas are so close to blooming. We have the Schubertii seed heads. I will cut those off once they start to turn brown. And then we have some Millennium Allium along with some Powwow Pink Echinacea up front here. And those look like they're getting ready to come into bloom as well. We have the oak leaf hydrangea with a couple of liatris around it. And then along this path, we have the Ever After Magic Show Veronica. And this Veronica is so hard to describe in color. It's like a lavender blue. It almost reminds me, but it's so electric that it almost reminds me of the color that white shirts turn when you're in a black light environment. It's so gorgeous. It's just electric. And then you can tell what color now these goldfinch daisies are going to be. They're such a very beautiful, bright yellow. But they're not open quite yet. They are going to be glorious this year. They're definitely about twice as big as they were last year, and they make a wonderful combination with those Veronica. The Bobo hydrangeas are looking good and almost about to bloom here. Those face south, so they're a little ahead of the others. And look at the oak leaf hydrangea here. That one's just pristine white. So our shade garden bed up by the house, this faces east and north. And I did a little addition to In this bird bath recently, I added some Irish moss in addition to the regular moss, and just have some pretty undulating branches and pine cones in there to mimic the forest floor. And actually, I've had more birds visit it since putting moss in it than I did when it had water in it. So that's been fun. The opening act blush phlox that's in this garden bed is doing so much better than that which is in front of the shed garden bed. And I think that's because here it gets a lot more water and a little less sun. And it's right by where our downspout is. So it has just lasted probably a week longer at this point than the other did. So I would just say that it likes a little more shade and a little more water. Here we have another can-do hydrangea. Looking really pretty. That's its first year, and that was just a very small plant to begin with. So it's going to take some time to grow on in that area because it is quite a bit of shade. But these hostas, you guys, are just so, so full. They've gotten huge, and I'm still thinking about exactly what I'm going to be doing when we come down here to the end and we have some of, more sunlight down here because of the removal of the neighbor's tree. We definitely see some yellowing happening on like this blue hosta as well as the gold edge hosta. So we'll have to take some of those out and think about what else we'll be putting in this area. I'm hopeful that the blue shadow Fothergilla can remain. I just don't want to have to move it again. Everything's looking really lush back here as well. We're getting some new blooms down here on the, oh my goodness, what's it called? The bobbleheads that are our allium, drumstick alliums. So hopefully you can see the colors on these. There's not any plants behind them, so it's a little bit more difficult to see. And the Verbena bonariensis also standing tall with blooms on it. And all of this up on top of the beautiful variegated sage plant, which is a perennial in our area. I've grown this one before and it's just beautiful. It's not a long-lived perennial. It does get fairly woody over time and turn into almost a shrub. So if you like that and you want something like that in your garden, I say go for it. And they're not very expensive to replace at all because you can just buy them as a small herb. Well, this concludes our walkabout and garden tour for this week. I hope you enjoyed it and that you all are staying cool and getting to the end of the heat wave in your area. I know we have some of our last high temperatures for a little bit at least happening in the next couple of days. So stay cool and enjoy your gardens. See you next time. Bye!